Okay, everyone, I'm going to give you a 5 or 6 minute demo of just the teleintelligence capabilities of the Mercury release of Galileo. And you're going to be able to see the reasoning model in action. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you that it has access to the labor market. So I'm going to ask Galileo, what is the salary for a marketing manager in San Francisco? And you'll see that it is going through and looking for that information, searching through 16 or 18 sources, finding the average salary. This is data based on job posting, very up to date. I think it's every week from Lightcast. So as the economy goes up and down, you'll be able to see this data change. Now let's talk about skills. Let's suppose I'm looking for an oil process refining engineer in Houston. What are the detailed skills for a refinery, which I, by the way, used to be. And so it's going to look through job postings in Houston. It's going to go through its database of skills and skills detail in Lightcast. And it's going to show you that you need process engineering, refinery experience, process analysis, engineering skills. You can see where the data is coming from in each of these cases, safety procedures, which I remember quite well, problem-solving skills, and so forth. Before I ask it for salaries, let me ask it about soft skills. Using the SHL UCF, what would be soft skills needed in this role? And it will look it up in the SHL 90+ soft skills database, and it'll show me quick decision-making, monitoring performance, collaboration, communication, planning and organizing, and you can see where this data came from in great detail. These are complex skills. These are not simple words. So you can see where they are and use them. And by the way, what are the salaries in Houston for this position? And it'll give me an average of what people are making in these jobs right now. It can also coach me on how to measure salary versus tenure. Let's shift over to another job that's a little more interesting, AI engineer. What are the technical and soft skills required for an AI engineer? This is something that I think most companies are looking for right now. It'd be interesting to know what this job really is. You can see it's thinking about all the different aspects of this. The technical skills, the software engineering skills, the soft skills. These are the programming languages. These are the machine learning techniques that you would need to know. What you need to know about deep learning, data analysis, NLP, model deployment and inference, problem solving, etc. And you can see that it's very specific. What are the most in-demand programming languages for AI engineers? I think I know what they are, but I'm not actually a software engineer, so I could only guess. And you can see it's going to figure that out for me. Python, Java, C++, R, JavaScript, and so forth. You can ask him, it's trying to coach you to learn more about that. But let's go back to another issue. What cities in the US are the best places to search for AI engineers? And what are average salaries in those cities? So it's going to look through the entire database of Lightcast job postings and data, and it's going to find the top cities and roughly how much people make. San Francisco, New York, it shows you the number of people in each city. Seattle, Boston, Los Angeles. Can you add average salary levels to this answer? And so now it's going to go through all those job postings and give you the average salary levels so you could make a financial decision if you have location flexibility on where you might want to go. $176,000 in San Francisco, $175,000 in New York, $172,000. Boston, actually, they're all very similar. About in Austin, Texas. I think it's a little bit loud, 140,000. So you can see that it's very useful to these kinds of things. And, so maybe you're going through and you're looking for engineers and you realize I also need engineering management. So let's go through the management part of this. So say, what would be the top 10 skills for an AI engineering manager? So I can start looking for management positions too and create a job description for that and make sure I'm qualifying the right people and what cities I might want to look for those. So first it's going to come up with the skills, programming, data, project management, team leadership, strategic thinking, communication, problem solving, ethical AI practices, and so forth. What are the key responsibilities of an AI engineering manager if I want to write their job description? But let's suppose I want to now know how to hire these engineering managers. Please create a 20-question job interview to assess AI engineering candidates and give me a rubric, in other words, a model for a good versus weak answer for each question. By the way, there are prompts already set up to do this if you don't want to kind of type all that stuff in. But you can see it's going through a lot of the analysis we just did, adding more information, and now giving me an interview guide. And here are number one, supervised and unsupervised learning, Python, neural network, overfitting, gradient descent. I happen to know what some of these things are. Activation functions, machine learning, transfer learning, feature selection, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and it's going to give me some soft skills. Pretty well worded for this. And you can see what you can do with this is find locations, determine salaries, create job interviews. Now, if you conduct this interview, these 20 questions, or maybe you distribute it up to 2 or 3 people, and you use the meeting assistant to do that, you'll have the answers to these questions, and those candidates can be analyzed by Galileo. Let me give you an example of how Galileo can analyze job candidates. I'm going to go into my content library, and I'm going to find you candidates for different positions. So here's a bunch of candidates that I've interviewed for research jobs inside the company. These are real people, so I won't bother spending a lot of time on who they are. But let's suppose we want to analyze them. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to analyze that group, that corpus, mini corpus specifically. So for the candidates, what are the top 20 skills they demonstrate in their background? This is a way of getting the system warmed up. So it's going to go through those 20 detailed resumes and backgrounds, and it's going to find out what they're doing. And it's going to come up with 20 things, and you can see where it came from. Now I'm going to say, analyze these candidates for our research position, which I've added, and sort them from top to bottom in skills depth using a table to view the results. I should have probably told it what to put in the table. But I don't know these people. I've interviewed some of them. So these are the critical skills I need to evaluate. Now, evaluate these candidates for skills depth and put the result in a table based on these skills. By the way, these are not interviews. These are just resumes. So an interview, which has much more information in it, would be actually much even more in depth. So it's going through, looking at the candidate, using the reasoning model, and evaluating them by depth. Now let's look at how Galileo can be used for candidate selection. So I happen to have a series of resumes of people who applied for a job with us in a research role as a research analyst, and you can see them right here. These are real people. And so I'm going to take this folder and I'm going to interrogate it, and I'll ask it first, what are the 20 key skills for a research analyst? And it's going to use the information that we've told it in our job description and the information that it's picked up through other sources of research on the things that you need to know to be a good research analyst. Okay, so that's pretty good. Those all make sense to me. I would add insights into human resources. Please evaluate these candidates against these skills. And by the way, you could have given the system your job description and ask it to use against that job description, and put the summary in a table showing each candidate their top 3 skills and relevant experience in these skills. Now, I have tried to do this by hand. The only way to do it is to sit down and literally throw the resumes on the floor, to be honest, and look at them. But here it did. It went through and it found for these individuals what, and it knows, by the way, about our jobs, what these people did. And you can see it very quickly gave us a pretty good analysis of who these people are. They're pretty capable people. But you can sort of tell from this who you might want to hire, who you might want to hire. Let's ask it a kind of a tricky question. All right, this is an interesting one, specific experiences. Please rank the candidates based on experience and alignment with these skills and explain why each candidate is in its relative position. That's a very complicated question. And you can see what it's doing. It's going from person to person and it's trying to rank them. And I happen to know Sam Lassoff, and she's really good. I don't remember Kimberly, but here you go. And it told me why it did what it did. Now, I'm not going to go all the way down into the details of these people, but imagine you had a audio or video interview with them in this same folder, and we asked it to use the interview as well as their bio and background. It would do that too. You can ask it, you can see it's doing a good job of coaching me on what's next. Now, one of the features that we're launching in Mercury is the ability for the system to evaluate you against benchmarks. So I'm going to switch systems for a minute. I'm going to go to the internal workspace, and I'm going to show you our internal system, and I'm going to run a prompt that has the system maturity coach. And this is a consulting experience where the system's going to consult with me. It's going to ask me to assess my maturity in the systemic HR maturity model, which is the HR operating model maturity model, and starting to ask me questions. So I'm going to, I kind of know what, by the way, it randomizes these questions, and no two times does it ask the same question. So it has access to the corpus of knowledge, and it's creating a custom experience for me. Let's say B. How well do I do capability building within the HR team? C. How would you describe my structure? C. Strategic alignment? D. I'm pretty good at that. Technology is used for most processing on the efficiency level. Most people are around there. Employee experience is important. It's not central, but it's one of the things we spend a lot of time on. Performance management. By the way, it never asked me about performance management before. It's interesting it's decided to ask me this time. I would say C. By the way, we have a performance management maturity model. Talent management is proactive. Focus on developing key talent. Change management. B. I happen to know some of these questions, so they sort of look familiar to me. HR strategy and decision making based on data. C. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to analyze all that, and it just gave me a level of 3. So solution-centric, which is 3 levels in the system. It's showing me what I need to grow. And now it's coaching me on what to do next. What should I be doing to make my analytics better? And it's going to give me some particular examples of what I could be doing to improve my analytics. And by the way, any of these questions could be prefaced with details about your company, or you could upload files or PowerPoint slides or audios to inform it. And you can see what it's doing is it's basically turned into a consultant, where it's kind of asking me questions to prompt me to think more detailed about what to do. This is only one small, tiny fraction of the things that you can do with Mercury. And I wanted to just show you an experience of what this incredibly powerful system can do. Get your hands on Galileo. It's only $39 a month. You can buy it for your company. You can buy it for yourself. You can buy it as a consultant, as a salesperson. There's hundreds of vendors in here, hundreds and hundreds of case studies, industry data by industry, skills models, leadership models, all of our maturity models, all of our major research reports, all of my podcasts are in here, webinars that we do for our clients. It's the #1 most valuable tool you will have to improve your career. And there's way, way, way more coming soon. Thank you.